So we want to start talking a little bit about what we ate and sort of the things it cost when we were in New Zealand.
New Zealand was one of the more expensive countries that we're going to, so we chose to camp and cook mostly for ourselves. The food is very similar to what we had in Australia because the supermarkets are more or less the same and the food is more or less the same, so it was all very familiar food.
Yeah, New Zealand supermarkets had slightly less options, but yeah, exactly the same brands almost and everything.
So breakfasts were more or less the same as we have at home, cereal with milk and fruit.
So that was Weetabix, and they had special muesli, and there was usually one that had some kind of red fruit in it, which was much yummier, and usually a banana as well.
And then lunch we had sandwiches, where we would just make our own sandwiches, often at the campsite in the morning to take with us, or sometimes at a picnic bench or in the back of the car. So we just always had bread, cheese, some kind of cooked meat, tomato, lettuce, and some kind of sauce to put on them.
Yeah, so we had an esky in the car, and that made it easy. We could keep things cool enough, and it was always nice when we had somewhere that had a bit of a view.
Yeah. Esky being a chili bin, or an ice box.
Or a cool box.
Or a cool box.
Not even necessarily with ice in it.
So that was lunches, and dinners was generally mostly chicken stir fry, which would be chicken, vegetables, and either pasta, rice, or couscous, and some kind of either tin of tomatoes or a packet.
Yeah, a packet sauce. There was a really nice Korean one that I remember, but otherwise it was like honey, soy, or it was Chinese style. Just tasty, just a pour on one.
Yeah, and if there was anything unusual we found, we would try that. Okay, today's gourmet camping meal. Rice in our perfect plates and minced chow mein. And head chef Ewan.
Still cooking.
Pasta and noodles. Tricky to separate them out.
I wonder why that is.
There we go. Perfect. Gourmet.
Now that looks more like something tasty.
Does that look even? No, that looks like there's more pasta and less noodles and more noodles. I don't really care which I have, so I'll let you choose. And then we'll just cover it all with bolognese. Because there's a lot of bolognese. So yours is the one on the right because there's more pasta. And there's like enough bolognese to feed an army.
Seems to be plenty to go around.
Okay.
It's proof it's edible.
How is it?
Well, it's definitely a camping food because it's all the leftovers before we get in the plane and move to North Island.
Bucket lunch, like the girls used to have when they went. When the girls used to go on their school camps, they'd have bucket lunch at the end of the day, the end of the week. That was just like they'd put all the leftover ingredients in a bucket, mix them, and put them in wraps. We don't have wraps, but it's like a bucket dinner.
Yes, but not in a nasty way, in a nice way.
A nice way. We also had one meal which was boxed curries.
Yeah, that was kind of from a previous memory where after a big race we had an enormous meal. It was pre-packaged and so easy to make, and it was great, and we thought we'd look for something similar.
Yeah, but they were $5 a box, and you can see what they turned out like. Okay, gourmet dinner tonight. Instant microwave meal. Open the whole thing.
Then it'll be too hot. It'll burn everything.
Okay.
Which is my
rice.
one. Which is my one.
Evenly distributed rice. Okay.
How's that?
All right. Perfect. Okay. And now for
Against the resistance.
and this is butter chicken. And now my tip would be to open it fully and use a spoon.
Because you burnt yourself before, did you?
Oh, well, it's hard to get it out otherwise. Oh, you can look at that. Yum.
Oh, look at all those lumps. I hope there's some for this one.
Didn't look quite as bad. So, all the chicken.
That was all the chicken.
Okay.
What a weird thing.
Okay. Thanks, Chef Ewan. We only really ate out. We had fish and chips out once. Dinner tonight is fish and chips.
Fish and chops.
So 2 pieces of grilled fish, 1 battered chips, pot of sauce. We did get an option of a tin of sauce, which was a bit odd, but we didn't take that. And this was $22.50. Dinner, Wednesday night, Havelock North.
That was tasty.
Yep, and we ate out when we were in Auckland because we weren't paying for accommodation there. We were staying with a very good friend. Thank you, Francis. So we ate out a few times then, and we also ate out when we were in Rotorua at the end, which was kind of like our holiday within our retirement.
Bigger holiday, yeah.
Yeah.
There were also a few special snacks, special occasions. So there was some interesting crackers with special bubbly. Cheers!
Cheers!
Or there was food amongst the wine.
Yeah, we often had crackers and cheese as a snack in the afternoon. We went out for a couple of coffees as well.
With my special black coffee cup.
Yep.
Thank you to our wonderful daughter for giving me that at Christmas a few years ago.
But that was eating in New Zealand, much the same as eating in Australia, cooking for ourselves on the campsite with our camping pans that were quite small, which helped regulate our meal size, and our fold-up plates. Yeah, so that was what we ate in New Zealand. Here are our total expenses for 63 days in New Zealand. This is in Australian dollars because that's where we're from, so that's what we're working in. So we spent a total of $11,647.68 over the course of the 63 days, which works out to be $182 a day. This is higher than what our budget will be overall when we're traveling, but we knew it was going to be that beforehand, so we did prepay some things in advance, and there was a reason we came to New Zealand. So yeah, so that's our overall expenses. Okay, so then the breakdown of what we spent the money on. As you can see here, we spent almost half of our money on transport within New Zealand. That's the orange part. 40% of our budget was on that. Again, we knew this in advance. Hiring a car in New Zealand is expensive at the best of times, and over Christmas and New Year is even more expensive. So we chose to do that so that we could camp, which again reduced our accommodation costs. So you can see the accommodation is only 23% of what we spent overall, and then the rest is our food, couple of flights and activities. So let's have a closer look at the details. Okay, so as we said, transportation within New Zealand was our largest expense. So at $4,668 for the 63 days, this works out as about $74 a day. It was 4 weeks of car hire in the South Island, which was over Christmas and New Year, so that was the expensive part. And 3 weeks of car hire in the North Island, which was slightly cheaper. Insurance for both of those cars and all the petrol we paid while driving around. And also the last week we had in New Zealand, we did not have the car hire, and we chose to take a bus to and from Rotorua, where we had our ultramarathon, because we didn't want to be driving at that time. So all of those are our internal New Zealand expenses. Accommodation, $2,661 in total, which works out as $42 a day. Again, this was mostly camping. We had 10 days in an Airbnb in Christchurch over Christmas and New Year. And we also had a few days in a motel in Rotorua at the end for our ultramarathon. And other than that, we camped, like we said, and we also stayed with friends, which did help save money. Groceries, like we said before, we were mostly cooking for ourselves for these 63 days. So this was $1,662 for the 63 days and works out as $26 per day. Next up, we have activities. That was a total of $950 for the 63 days. This was mostly our Tarawera Ultra Marathon and also our bike winery tour. So they were our two major activities that we had that cost that money. Next is flights. So this includes our flight to New Zealand from Australia, and also we had an internal flight to fly between the South Island and the North Island, and that total was $929.44. Restaurants, as we said, we didn't eat out too much. In Rotorua we did quite a few times, and in Auckland when we weren't paying for the accommodation, so that balanced out. In total for the 63 days we spent $352.56. General, this was eSIMs, gifts for friends that looked after us, things like that. That was $140.91. Drinks, just a couple of times we went out for drinks with friends. That was $107.11. Again, mostly we just got wine from the supermarket, so that was included in our grocery bill. But there wasn't that much wine drinking going on because we were training for our ultramarathon. A few coffees we had out again with friends. That was $97.92 in total. Shopping, bought a couple of roll mats to sleep on in the South Island and the North Island because my camping mat had a puncture, so I had to buy a yoga mat to sleep on in the tent. So that was that, and I bought an extra pair of shorts for running. Laundry, the shopping, that was $55.17 in total. Laundry, we spent $19.14, and fees and charges, $2.59. That was, we actually chose to get 1 week of CapCut to see what that was like for video editing. So that, in a nutshell, is what we spent while we were in New Zealand for 63 days. As we said, it was over what our budget is going to be when we're traveling, but we did know that in advance and we chose New Zealand for our ultramarathon. So overall, we're pretty happy with our expenses.